Microphone on. Say, okay, I'm getting some, let's just mute. Okay, no problems. That was great. That's what everyone gets to hear, huh? Okay. Welcome to the November 13th, 2025 meeting of the Ann Arbor Historic District Commission. I am Chairperson David Rockland, and the time is 7 o'clock p.m. We will begin the meeting with some notes about the format. So for remote participation in this meeting is available by telephone or through online video conferencing. Please see the meeting agenda for remote participation contact information, including phone numbers and the web link. Public comment is available in person or by telephone during the public comment agenda item and during each public hearing. Finally, here's an overview of the sequence of events for each hearing on the agenda. First, Planning Services staff will deliver their report, followed by a report from this month's Commissioner Review Committee. Then the applicant will provide their presentation and answer any questions from the commissioners. At that point, the hearing will be open for public comment. Following public comment, the commission will make a motion and discuss the application. Finally, the approval from a majority of commissioners present will be required for a certificate of appropriateness to be granted. We'll now move on to roll call. Ms. Thatcher, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Rockland.
Here.
Commissioner Calderon. Commissioner Kaplan.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Present.
Commissioner Ross.
Present.
Commissioner Nisbet.
Present.
Commissioner Carter.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? I'm not seeing any. So with no objection, the agenda is approved as presented. So now we'll move on to public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to speak to the Historic District Commission for up to 3 minutes on an issue that is not listed as a public hearing on this agenda. Please approach the podium, or if you're listening by phone, press star 9. If you're on the video, then raise hand. And I'm not seeing anyone, so we'll move on from public comment. And we will go into unfinished business, but there isn't any, so we'll keep going to hearings. We've got 2 hearings this evening. And we'll start with F1, that's 408 West Liberty Street. So we'll have the staff report whenever you're ready, please.
Thank you. If I can get the screen to change. There we go. All right. Typo on the screen, it is 408 West Liberty Street. This is a contributing Queen Anne structure in the Old West Side Historic District. This is the 1891 Albert Mann House. It features a prominent front turret with a raised brick pattern near the conical roof, double front doors with colored glass that have a covered front porch or stoop with fancy turned posts, balusters, and trim, and a similar second floor covered porch sits atop it. That's a fancy way of saying there's a really cool front porch with another one above it. It's on the north side of West Liberty Street between 2nd and 3rd Streets. You can see that there's a large house to the right here, which would be to the east, and to the west is the church that's at the corner. The applicant is seeking HDC approval to construct a small dormer on the west-facing roof to allow headroom for an attic staircase. Let's run through the pictures. This is a really cool house, and I do appreciate the meticulous care that it's had over the years. You can see it's in great shape. It has interesting windows, little colored glass here. There are some additions on the back. The frame, the wood-cladded part in the back is an addition, and you can see that there are dormers on both sides on the way back section of the house. But you can also see really easily where the original brick with a stone foundation is. This is looking toward the street from the back. And there's the very back of the house. The dormer is proposed on this side roof facing the church. Here's what it looks like now. This is the area. That chimney was in the last slide. Here's the dormer. It's about 7 feet wide and has lap siding. It doesn't say wood, but it says matching the existing, so that to me says wood, as do these rear sections and the other dormers on the house. A couple of awning windows. And here's a plan view of where this would go and where the stairs are that go up to reach the attic. This picture makes a little more sense. It does. This makes it look huge because it's, an elevation view or a section view. And keep in mind also that this is an elevation view, but that's where it would be located. And really, this is the one to keep in mind to give you an idea of how far it is from the street, the placement. It's really pretty minimal, and will give them access to a lot of extra room up there on the 3rd floor. This is a view from across the street. From this exact angle, head on, you probably couldn't even see that dormer, but if you moved to the west a little bit more, you probably could. All right, from the Secretary of Interior Standards, number 9, best applies. It says new additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction shall not destroy historic materials that characterize the property. The new work shall be differentiated from the old and shall be compatible with the massing, size, scale, and architectural features to protect the historic integrity of the property and its environment. From the Secretary of the Interior's guidelines for roofs, it's recommended to design additions to roofs, such as dormers, when required by the new use, that they're inconspicuous from the public right-of-way and do not damage or obscure character-defining structures. Staff believes that this is both inconspicuous and does not damage character-defining structures. There are some things that aren't recommended, like changing the configuration of a roof so that the historic character is diminished, or installing new windows that obscure, damage, or destroy character-defining features, but I do not believe that that is an issue with this application. And finally, in the district or neighborhood setting, it's not recommended to introduce new construction that's visually incompatible or that destroys historic relationships. Let me just check my staff notes. I'm sorry, the proposed dormer is 7 feet 10 inches wide. That pair of windows are Anderson 100 series awning windows. This house has a lot of different roof forms. It's a Queen Anne. That's what they're like. That's what they're known for. Has conical, gabled, shed, and hip roofs. And staff believes the work is appropriate and meets the standards and guidelines used by the Historic District Commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thatcher. Okay, we'll now move on to the review committee report. We had Commissioners Nisbet and Kaplan on the review committee. So will you please give us your report? Who'd like to go first?
I'll go. Walking around the house, it's clear to see even from the outside why the shed dormer needs to be installed here. You can see, I'm not sure how long, it could have been quite a long time ago, but part of that window had been filled in at some point with brick. You can see it right above this short window. That was to make room, I'm guessing, we didn't go inside, but I'm guessing that was to make room for a stairwell that was added at some point. So now that stairwell, in order to have headroom above, you can see how it's going to drive right into that roof line. But other than that, we walked it from every angle, and with the exception of right here and maybe a little bit off the corner to the west, you don't see the impact of that dormer from almost any other angle.
Yeah, not much to add. That's a great summary of what we saw. And I think just also commenting that the house that has been so clearly lovingly cared for was nice to see. And we did notice that the building behind it has sort of a similar window dormer, so we thought even just looking at how it sits in the context of the neighborhood at large, it wouldn't feel sort of strange to see that kind of configuration. And I think it felt thoughtfully planned to match the character of the neighborhood and the house itself.
Well, thank you very much. We'll now move on to the applicant presentation. So will the applicant please come forward, approach the podium? Thank you. So please provide your name and address for the record, and you have up to 5 minutes, and just respond to what you've heard so far or answer any questions, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm Kevin Adkins. I'm the architect for the project. Did you say you need my address as well?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
That's the protocol. Yeah.
8539 Lawrence Avenue in
you.
Ypsilanti. I don't have much to add. I think you all, between the three of you, covered it well. We did what we could to keep it minimal. The dormer is no wider than the stair itself, so it's directly above the stair. From the landing up to the current roof at the edge of the house is about 3'11" right now, so you're kind of doing that turn around the landing. So it's a really cool attic, especially when you go inside the turret at the corner, and it's got great space up there. So they use it for storage, but it's been difficult to move things up and down. So this will just make it much more functional and usable. Materials will match what's there. The painted wood lap siding. The roof pitch is the same on the original shallower gable on the rear of the house. That's the brick and the stone portion that has a shallower roof. The 512, this will match that. So yeah, we did what we could to just keep it simple and match what's there as best we could while providing usable space.
Very good. Are there any questions for the applicant from the commission? Great. Thank you, Kev. Oh, there's
Actually,
one
I have
question. Thanks, Jen.
Just a real quick one. So the Anderson 100s, what's the materiality of those windows?
They're a Fibrex window, so from the outside they look like a clad window, and most clad windows nowadays, but some of them, like a 400 series, are a vinyl clad. These are actually more durable and hold up better than a vinyl clad does. And then it's the same material on the inside, so kind of a maintenance-free inside and outside.
Okay. And then the siding will be wood?
The siding will be wood lap siding painted white to match the other additions and shed dormer in the back.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay. So now we will open up this hearing. We'll open up the public hearing for this item, 408 West Liberty Street. So this is an opportunity for persons to speak for up to 3 minutes about this application. I'm not seeing anyone approach the podium here, and we don't have anyone online. So that's it for the public hearing. We will move on now to the motion. So I'm wondering if there's a commissioner who would like to make a motion at this time. Anyone can do it, yes.
I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 408 West Liberty Street, a contributing property in the Old West Side Historic District, to construct a small dormer on the west-facing roof to allow headroom for an attic staircase. As proposed, the work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the rest of the building and the surrounding area, and it meets the Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines, in particular, the guidelines for roofs, and the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular, standards 9 and 10, and the guidelines for roofs, windows, and district or neighborhood setting.
Second.
Very good. That was moved by Commissioner Kaplan and seconded by Commissioner Ross. Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? Does anyone want to make a comment? Okay. I assume there's no comments because, like the staff report and the review committee report said, it's a very simple and it's a simple project. It's well thought out, as you can see through the application, and it follows the standards as we're all understanding them. So let's just go right to a vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion carries. Your application has been approved. Please note you must receive all required permits from the city before beginning your project, and that the work in the permits must match what was approved by the Historic District Commission. Thank you. Okay. We will now move on to item F2. That is at 562 South Ashley Street. And we'll ask for the staff report as soon as you're ready and available. Oh, gosh.
All right.
Really clear that.
So this is 562 South Ashley Street. It is a 1 3/4 story gable front house, which features a stone foundation, asphalt roof, and wood siding, and a full width front porch, which is recessed underneath the upper story. It first appears on the 1916 Sanborn Fire Insurance Map when it was occupied by Clarence H. Malky, and it also appears as early as 1900 in the city directory as the residence of Nellie Root. The site is located on the west side of South Ashley Street between West Madison Street and West Jefferson Street, and the applicant is seeking HDC approval to convert an existing 33-inch by 16-inch basement window to a 28-inch by 46-inch egress window and window well on the north elevation near the right-of-way. So this is coming before the commission because it is close to the sidewalk. And a gaggle of commissioners right here that are in front of the window. This is front of the house, and then it's on this north side right here. This is the other side of the house, the south side. And then this is the window in question. Fixed wood window. Better view. They'll be converted to egress. And then that's farther down on the back of the house. This is a staff photo from a year that is written in the report, I think 2008. And then these are some applicant photos. So this is looking towards the street, and the window in question is right here. So just behind this kind of bump out. This is from the interior of the basement. So there's matching windows. This one is the one that's proposed to be converted. Some more photos. This is looking towards the back of the house. The camera is probably standing right in front of the window. And there are 4 basement windows. And the application, when I look at my notes, I'll tell you why all of the other locations don't work. And this one is the only possible, even though it's near the front. And then from the interior, this is the other side of the house. All right. From the Secretary of the Interior Standards, 1, a property will be used as it was historically or be given a new use that requires minimal change to its distinctive materials, features, spaces, and spatial relationships. 2, the historic character of the property will be retained and preserved. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize the property will be avoided. And lucky us, Jill already read that one. For windows, from the guidelines from the Secretary of the Interior, it's recommended to design and install additional windows on the rear or other non-character defining elevations if required by the new use. It's not recommended to introduce a new design that is incompatible with the historic character of the building. For neighborhood, district or neighborhood setting, it's not recommended to introduce new construction that is visually incompatible or destroys historic relationships with the setting. For health and safety, these are egress windows, so it is recommended to identify character-defining spaces and features and finishes so that code-required work will not result in their damage or loss. It's also recommended to comply with health and safety codes. Not recommended to alter, damage, or destroy character-defining spaces when making modifications for safety codes. From the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines, it is not appropriate to change the number, location, and size or glazing pattern of windows. And from Safety Code, it's appropriate to comply with barrier-free and safety codes in a manner that ensures the preservation of character-defining features. All right, I'll go back to the photos and say just a couple more things. All right. So the new basement egress window is required, and the only possible location as detailed in the application is this one here near the street. There's a shared easement with the adjacent property on the south elevation, which is the other side elevation, and there's existing plumbing at the rear of the home, which makes it hard to put new egress at the rear of the home, which would be preferred. So they did look at the other options, and this was the only one that worked for them. There's also this on the north elevation, there's another existing window that's closer to the rear of the home, but it is, as you can see in these photos, it's underneath a cantilevered bay window, and so it disqualifies that as a means for egress. So that's why we're looking at this location. The new proposed window will be a vinyl casement egress window that is 28 inches by 46 inches, so it will fit within the existing opening. It'll be a little bit smaller than the existing window. And we looked at the existing wood windows. The window well will be structural plastic and it'll be 54 feet wide and between 54 inches. It'll be between 51 inches and 67 inches in height. The exact height wasn't confirmed, but it will be one of those options. And the application includes a polycarbonate domed well cover. I had some questions about this, but we did talk about it on the review committee, and I'm sure the applicant will discuss that it'll be a low profile, and we don't have to be very concerned about the well cover. So overall, basement egress windows necessary to meet building code, and though it'll be close to the right-of-way, this is the only possible location, and the window materials and dimensions are typical for egress windows. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mariana. We will now move on to the review committee report, so we'd like to hear from the review committee. Commissioner Kaplan first, please.
Yes, so in the review and looking around the house, it was clear from our guided tour that this was the only real possible window to use. In addition to choosing this location, it was called out to us that the egress window will, if you're looking at this picture right here, the egress window is going to have to start about 8 to 10 inches below the current framing. And the reason for that is when you're looking through that window, the existing ductwork of the house is coupled right at ceiling level. So in order to have that clearance to get through, they're going to start at about 8, 10 inches lower to make room for that duct. One of the pictures on this showed, if you were looking straight into that window, you can see the ductwork is just at the top of the window. You're seeing part of it right there. So they're trying to create clearance for that, and I believe it was suggested they were going to put like glass block in a row before they started the window. That was the only thing that I remarked at other than what was covered in the staff report.
Not much to add to that. It seemed pretty straightforward. I think they talked about the glass blocks, and I think we'll see what they have for the dome cover, but low profile sounded like the answer. And I think we also noted that there was a lot of vegetation in front. Obviously that can change, but that location is pretty well covered from the street. So that's not forever confirmed, depending on how those plants grow, but that was nice for that.
Very good. Thank you both. So now we'll move on to the applicant presentation. I assume we have the applicant joining via Zoom. Is that correct? Great.
That's correct.
Oh, hey there.
Hello.
So would you please, do you have video? Yeah, there you are. Great.
Yes.
So please state your name and address for the record, and now's the time for you to answer any questions or give a presentation. So thank you very much.
All right, my name is Curtis Ballinger. My address is 3825 Sherrill Drive, Milan, Michigan.
Thank you.
So the window here on the exterior measures wider than it does on the interior. So the window is actually 37-inch rough opening for the interior. So we're going to try to shave that down slightly by about 3.5 to 4 inches, so that way that our material for framing in that area will fit, plus the window. The window, they're correct, will start roughly anywhere between 6 and 10 inches once we get on site and we get everything peeled back and we can see exactly how low we need to go. The opening above grade will look exactly the same as it does now, except for we'll cut it straight down as far as we need to install the window for meeting the code.
Very good. I'm sorry, I missed your name again. Can you please repeat that for me? I got
Curtis Ballinger.
Curtis, yeah. Thank you, Curtis.
You're welcome.
So, does any? I just want to make sure. Is that? Are you done with your part of the presentation?
I'm more than happy to answer questions.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward.
Okay, I agree. Okay, are there any commissioners who have questions for the applicant? Yes.
I just have one. In one of the diagrams for the Bilco egress system, it shows like in a cross section, like a pea gravel drain trench or tying into a perimeter drain. I don't know if in your exploration of the house, did you find an existing perimeter drain here? Are there provisions for some sort of captured drainage for water that might fall into this well, or?
Correct.
Okay, so, and with that, it's still believed that a dome cover over and above that would be necessary to protect water from getting in the first place?
It's not necessarily protect from water. What I think egress companies have found over the years is that the metal grates allow a lot of debris to fall in there, which makes you have to go down in there and dig it out. It does stop some rain. It doesn't stop 100%, but it does stop 99% of all the debris, leaves like you see in front of the window there now, that leaves falling from above would fall onto it. It's much easier for small children to push the cover off versus the old school rebar welded steel frames that are extremely heavy. So there's a safety aspect. So the cover that's on this well has plastic clips that hold it on. So anyone that can climb out of that well can just reach up and push the cover off fairly easily. It weighs maybe 10 pounds at the most. The cover itself in the thickest portion is in the back, in the center, and it slopes away into the sides in a radius that's about 4.5 inches tall.
Got it. Not very visible. Yes, Commissioner Ross.
Okay, so I have since we don't have we just kind of have this typical drawing here. So what we're going to see above grade would be the cover and then glass block and some portion of a vinyl window. Is that?
That's correct.
Okay.
I think there's one other element, which is the infill material around, because the window itself, it sounds like it's a few inches smaller width-wise.
Width-wise.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
What are you infilling the sides there with, Curtis?
We use treated lumber for that.
Okay. Is it be painted?
It can be painted. A lot of homeowners end up waiting for it to dry out, then trim.
Right. Okay.
Because treated lumber comes with a lot of moisture trapped in it already, so it takes a couple seasons.
Right. Okay. So it's gonna be treated lumber on the sides, glass block on the top.
all right, I got you.
Okay. We have another question
Yeah,
here.
did you consider anything other than the glass block on the top?
We have done other things in the past. It's just, if we need to meet some sort of eye appeal here, we might be able to do some of this flagstone infill here at the top to kind of not have the glass block, but to be more of a solid fill versus a glass block fill.
All right, let's hold that thought till discussion, but thank you for that, Curtis. Are there more questions for Curtis? Okay, let me just check to see. All right, just want to make sure, because maybe we'll talk about this in the discussion, but I assume the window is like an outward opening, typical egress window, is that correct?
No, it opens inside to the basement.
Okay,
So it has a one-hand operation. You lift the handle and the entire window swings in.
comes in, okay.
Yep, it comes in, and then when the window is closed from the egress position, it is a single sashed window.
Got it. Okay, thanks for all that. Any other questions? Before we move on, we can always ask more, but this is the moment, and we will move on. Thank you, Curtis. We might come back to you in a moment here, but we've got some other business to attend to, and that is the public hearing. So
All right.
I will now open the public hearing for this item. This is 562 South Ashley Street. This is an opportunity for persons to speak about this application. So we do not have anyone for public hearing. So we can move on from that, and we'll go to the motion. So is there any commissioner who would like to make a motion on this item?
I can do it.
Thank you.
I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 562 South Ashley Street, a contributing property in the Old West Side Historic District, to install a new basement egress window and well on the north elevation. As proposed, the work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the rest of the building and the surrounding area, and meets the Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines, especially those for windows and safety codes, and the Secretary of the Interior Standards for Rehabilitation and Guidelines for Rehabilitating Historic Buildings, in particular Standards 1, 2, and 9, and the Guidelines for Windows, Neighborhood Setting, and Health and Safety.
Great. Do we have anyone
Second.
seconding that? Fantastic. That was moved by Commissioner Ross and seconded by Commissioner Kaplan. Thank you. So now let's go to some discussion on the motion. I think that, I guess there's kind of two elements here. One, do we think this location is appropriate for the egress window? And two, there just have been a lot of kind of discussions on materials, and this is maybe a little different than most typical egress wells that we get, where it's just really, yes, it's getting deeper, there's a well going in, but it's kind of just like a window for a window. This is a window, but there's going to be maybe glass block also is what the proposal is on top, and we heard why. It's an inward opening window that needs to clear something, so that's the reason. And then there's also going to be exposed, unpainted, but maybe painted, pressure-treated lumber on the jambs.
And
so-
I'll just recommend that, since that wasn't clear in the application about the glass block and the infill, that you add something to the motion whenever you're ready to do that.
Like, for example,
Like since the glass block isn't in the application
Yeah.
materials, if you decide that that's appropriate, then add something
Call
about
that
the glass
out in the
block into the motion.
sounds good. So first of all, does anyone want to speak to the opinion that this an egress well whatsoever should not be allowed in this particular location on this property? Or do we feel like this is not the first choice, and maybe it's the last choice, but it is still allowable? I guess just to speak to that, there was a picture that Mariana, maybe you took it, and it's like kind of from the sidewalk, and I was just curious, like, were you on the sidewalk when you took that? Or like that one, for example, is that basically from the sidewalk, or are you even,
That's the side.
that's from the sidewalk?
This one would
Okay.
be from the sidewalk, and then the other one was closer to that.
Even closer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't hear anyone wanting to take that position, so let's just assume that we all are in agreement there. And does anyone want to, so I didn't know about the glass block either. So that, and people, it's just something, I think what I'm responding to is not the glass block, but I think, not entirely the glass block, but it's, when we're removing a historic window and putting something else in, I think what we're looking for is something that is as invisible as possible, basically. This is not an addition that we're trying to draw attention to. And I think what I'm responding to is, like, what I want to see is maybe the fewest materials possible in this location so that your eye is not drawn to it. And I think that, filling in infilling something with glass block, I think is more or less allowable by the standards. But I think it's just the combination of glass block plus window plus untreated lumber that I'm trying to have a hard time, like, I'm thinking about the standards and thinking, okay, is this actually complying with the standards or not? So what else?
I think one thing I can add, just from there was a lot of, there were several people on site, and a lot of conversation when that point was brought up. I personally, Curtis, correct me if I'm wrong, I did not get the sense that anyone involved is married to glass block as the thing.
Yeah.
It's more or less something that would work because it's structural and it's a spacer, but the main concern was what to do to bring the opening down that 8 inches so that the in-swing window could clear that duct work.
Yeah.
And, I think it was brought up field stone as a possibility to continue the cadence of existing stone. I don't know if you could match it that easily. Honestly, a transom window above the opening window that had the same tripartite would work, and be, no different from the current visual presentation.
Right. I agree. But just the question is so what is the proposal then? Is the proposal glass, was your understanding that the proposal in front of us is glass block, or was that kind of talked about at the?
It's more the latter. It was talked about,
talked
but
about,
also not sort of like, and we want glass block. But
Okay.
we have to bring the opening down by a certain amount, and we could put glass block here, or, whatever
Okay.
works.
Okay, so let me just ask a question of staff. Is pressure treated lumber a allowable, or like not allowable? Does that meet as a finish material? Is that typically meeting the standards?
Typically not.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we allow it on back decks and things like that.
Right.
But I've never seen it used as sort of
Yeah.
trim material.
Right,
And he
okay.
said they could cover it up, but that's not part of the proposal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm a little leery of that.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too. So I think, Curtis, what you're hearing is that we just are kind of stuck with the material choices that have been discussed at least, but it also sounds like you're willing to kind of, we don't usually like to kind of design the project, but this is so simple that I think, I would say at the very least, the expectation would be that it would be infilled with some sort of finished trim material that would be painted. And you could infill the above the window and the sides of the window with, take your pick, cedar or, some sort of fiber cement like product. But I mean, that's a discussion for the whole commission to kind
He
of.
has a question. He wanted to say that.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Yeah, I see your raised hand, and please respond to what you've heard so far, Curtis.
Yeah, so this is our first experience of dealing with the HDC
Sure.
in any capacity when it comes to, we didn't know what to expect, to provide. So typically for our egress windows, we leave it to the homeowner to decide on what they want to trim out the windows with. The treated lumber is not the finished product. It is just the rough framing material for the window. Now, we can certainly meet whatever's necessary to take care of this homeowner's problem and to satisfy your requirements as well. So the glass block window, like Steve said, nobody's married to it. We can, if you have somewhere in town that has, 150-year-old weathered rock, I'm glad to put some of it up there. There are products out there that are similar, but they don't weather the same. So it would look new. Maybe we could make it look older, but I wouldn't be able to find something that would match unless there's something there that's fallen off that is, around behind or underneath the bay window area that we could repurpose. But cedar, anything else, yeah, I'm open to any suggestion. Just because I don't know what the material of the house is made of, I'm never going to find the paint color to match that fuchsia, or I'm not for sure what other the colors are on the house. But it would be easy for me to put something in there that's more weather resistant, that's not treated lumber. So the cedar is an option. We just want to work within the confines of the HDC and within the homeowner's needs. So I'm open to anything. We didn't know what to expect because this is our first time experiencing this. So, forgive my, like a baby giraffe, we're just kind of stumbling around here.
That's a great metaphor. Thank you. I'll keep that in my head now for the rest of the conversation. That's great. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you for being open, and we'll try to get a resolution quickly here for you. I think that I would just propose trimming the window in a material like a wood trim. I don't know if does anyone want to propose something else, or just have it? Let's just not go crazy here, but
Or could we just kind of give staff some guidance and leave it up to them? It feels a little strange trying to,
that sounds
on
good.
the table.
I agree.
design this
Yeah,
thing.
I don't want to do that either, and I really like that idea.
I think that would be fine,
Yep.
and it was the placement of the window that brought it to the HTC.
Right, yeah.
And we can sort of sort out the details with Curtis.
Yes.
And I do think that the idea of a transom window up above your egress window is a good one, Curtis. But, yeah, I think that's a good
Right.
option.
I also like the transom window idea. If that's not in the budget, though, I would say piece of wood trim.
Yeah.
Just fine.
Yeah,
Also,
just solid.
especially because there's ducts in the way. But yeah, I like both those ideas. Does anyone want to kind of add to that, or do we like that idea? That's obviously quite beneficial for the commission, so I think we're going to like it. Okay, so Curtis, the plan is that we're going to vote here, and we're going to vote on the motion that was made, and nothing was in there about any trim at all, really. So what we're going to do is we're going to vote, and then you're going to work with the staff here at the city to determine exactly what's going to kind of infill around the window. Does that sound understandable? Yes, I'm sure.
That's
Yep.
more than fair.
Thank you, sir.
So
Okay.
Curtis, we'll be looking for, staff will be looking for a drawing showing, what you'd like to do. After, if you want to talk about it more, that's fine too. But, so before you'll be able to get a building permit, we'll need to see some sort of drawing that shows, your final plan.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, so now let's go to a vote.
So,
Yes, there's something before, yeah.
Commissioner Rockland, so should I add a condition that staff, or how should we?
Yeah, yes, you should add a condition that says, and staff will approve the drawings before permits are issued.
I will do that. So.
Done.
Just go.
Done and done.
Okay, yeah, with the condition that staff is afforded the opportunity to review and approve final drawings prior to the issuance of the permit.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you for that little clarification. That's appreciated. Okay. Anything else before we go to a vote here? Let's do it. All those in favor of the motion, please say yes.
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 All those opposed, please say no. The motion carried. Your application has been approved. Thank you very much, Curtis. Take care.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. So that was it for hearings. Next is new business. We do have one item of new business, and that is a report from the nominating committee.
Yeah, this is a big committee, a
Yes.
committee of one. After speaking with folks about their interest and willingness, this committee is going to nominate Dave Rockland to continue as chair, Commissioner Kaplan to serve as vice chair, and Commissioner Calderon to serve as secretary.
Okay. Now what do we do? Vote?
Now you vote on it.
Okay. All those in favor of the nominating committee's proposal, please say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, say no. Okay, the approval is passed.
Congratulations,
For the,
officers.
proposal. Yeah. Great. Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Much appreciated.
done.
Yeah. Don't leave, though. We need you. Okay. Next is minutes, and we have 2 months of minutes, but I actually didn't check to confirm, were both of those there for review? We actually have Brittany Alexander joining us at the podium, or at on the commission this month, so it's great to have you here. Thank you once again for providing the minutes and the agenda for this meeting. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes by staff, and we really appreciate it, so thank you all who are present. So I'm not hearing any corrections to the minutes, so we will say that those minutes are approved as presented. So then we'll move on to reports from commissioners. Would any commissioner like to make a report? I don't know if we have any reports this month. It doesn't sound like we do. Okay. Thought maybe Commissioner Carter had a report, but you were just like wiping it. Yeah, no, I'm sorry about that. Okay, very good. And what about reports from staff?
How about assignments?
Did I skip that? Yes, let's go to assignments. That's important. So it'll be the review committee. It's the December meeting. It's going to be Monday, December 8th. It'll be a noon review. So all those who like the noon reviews, we got one for you. And the meeting itself is Thursday, December 11th. So now's a good time to check your calendar and just make sure you're even going to be around on the 11th. Feel free to speak up if you're not. But any takers?
I'll volunteer.
Fantastic. You got two. Did you see
Any other?
Commissioner
Is it Chip?
Kaplan as well?
Oh, Steve, got it. Thank you. Thank you both.
Fantastic. Okay, well, let's circle back around to reports from staff. Do we have anything this month, or are we going to wait for?
My only reminder is that the annual retreat will be held in a few minutes when this meeting concludes. It will not be televised.
Thank you for that. Okay, now we'll move on to concerns of commissioners. Anything going on? Okay, very good. Are there any communications this month to the commission? None. Okay, very good. So then we will adjourn the November 13th, 2025 HDC meeting, 7:46. Thank you all. Much appreciated. Yeah, that was quick.
Well done.